Just feeling kind of earthquake seismic sensor roundish. Yeah, it's a great thing. Earthquake with THX sound system. I mean, who would have thought of that? You know? Oh, it's sensurround, more or less, with cinemas worldwide. I think they had around about, I'm not sure if it was 400 or 800 cinemas fitted with sensurround worldwide since earthquake, and maybe they thought it would take off, you know, but there was only a very few films sensurround. Zuzu was it Zuzu or something about a zoo or suit or whatever? That was kind of I don't know, sensurround. I don't know. I have no idea. Never seen it. That was kind of like the last one around early 80, very early, 1980 or early 80. I don't know. But I think about 80, around which time sensurround was, I don't know, phased out, but probably still installed in some cinemas, because, you know, you can still get a film print and you can still show it. If you've got how a cinema system is set up, you could probably, you know, you could still show, say, like that movie in Dolby Stereo, or 35 mag, 30 or 70 mag, Dolby, whatever, stereophonic, you know, before Dolby, encoding, noise reduction, and so forth. You know, you could show that. But most, you know, completely removed the system, or I hid the speaker, the sensurround speakers down to the ABC. It's stripped out, I believe now. The word is it's all gutted on the interior. So it's just waiting for someone to get a contract to build the flats and so whatever. Probably won't be until about at least probably about 3-4 more years, I guess, and then there'll be something different downtown. But the sensurround speakers, they okay, some library pictures. I think this is what the pictures were by the derelict guys that go around looking at the cinema, and these pictures are public, you know. Equal to the opposite side of the auditorium or the room. So, you know, look at it. You see all the fancy aesthetic that I've seen for so many decades curving around and thinking, oh, that's all fancy. Like, oh, but no, it's just that's curtain material. You take it down. But those speakers there, those weren't used. Those were, I believe, used way back. Way back, because they changed to JBL 4675As during around 1994, just for around when Lethal Weapon 3 showed, and they changed so the other speakers, JBLs, would have been placed, I don't know, either on top of those bass cabs or to one side. I don't know, but there's one of the JBL 4645 subs down in the down there. That's a JBL. That's a JBL sub there. 46. It's got no bass cab, no bass driver in it. It's just a cab, and all those cabs there are all empty. I saw those behind the screen. Someone showed me. Projectionist there around 1987, 88. Showed me around projection and showed me behind the screen, and I was kind of impressed, taken by it. But down this side, which is equal on the opposite side, so it could be on this side or on the opposite side, but to where one projectionist told me, the sensurround speaker, one of them or a few of them, because I believe they had one at the front, which I never even noticed when I first saw Earthquake and Battlestar. And the other two were placed somewhere at the back of the auditorium, because that's the configuration. You put two in the corners at the back and one in the front, which is pretty large. I was told that those speakers, you know, were placed down this side walling. But the people that gone in there and looked around, I don't think once they've had a look around behind this walling or whatever. It's only a false wall, and such. That's where I've been told those sensurround speakers were placed. They're probably not there now. This is probably all stripped out, all the flooring, everything. It's just probably one large, and it's just waiting there as a shell to be redesigned into flats. That's what I've been told. And there was some asbestos, no doubt, but that's all gone now. But there's no video or pictures to prove what it looks like now, whether that is completely all gone and the floor is completely open down to the lower floor, because that was built because originally it was very large. And that's just below, that's on top of screen number 2, which is below. Front angle view. It's just daylight light wind coming in from, you know, those derelict crew people that go around documenting all this derelict cinemas all over the country, or derelict anything. I was told, because it was pointed out to me, that the sensurround speakers were put over this side. Hidden, so no one noticed them. Probably if they did have a peek down there, they probably just had the light going down, probably thought, can't see much, probably saw something, probably didn't think it was a speaker or even a sensurround Sherwin Vega. But that's all, as far as I know, it's all gone, unless of course someone goes in there and shows otherwise, that auditorium is still intact. But I've been told it's been completely stripped out, at least up to last year. It was totally stripped out. So if that stripped, maybe, I don't know. And the sensurround speakers, I don't know. But the other sensurround speakers, like I say, they would have been placed somewhere up in these corners in the auditorium, somewhere around there. But because it's so dark and that, and it's more or less the same colour material that they've had over the years, it hadn't changed too much. And I did like the design of this kind of curvature look and how it looked. It looks so futuristic. Especially when it's showing earthquake and sensurround, and you know, got the Universal logo at the opening and the warning thing, and the where was I sat in the auditorium when I first saw it? I was sat somewhere up here. I was sat around probably. No, that's over to that side. I was probably sat somewhere round here somewhere. The seating changed, of course, over the decades. They were like pull-ums. They look like seats that went in offices. They were very comfortable compared to the regular seats that, you know, didn't even recline. They were very, you know, just regular seats. I sat somewhere around here. Damn, was that earthquake powerful. It went right through my body. Never felt anything like it. Acoustically or whatever, I never felt anything like it. Apart from real life. I think when I saw Battlestar, it was a little bit lower down in the stool, because that's the upper stool. And when I saw Battlestar, it was a little bit lower down in the stools, and that's where I got my bloody tinnitus. Maybe the SPL level, or some of the peak of frequencies were a little bit more higher, a little bit further down. Maybe I should have been, maybe I should have just covered my ears naturally with my fingers, hands, whatever. Good gosh, and that might have, you know, prevented the sound pressure level going over the threshold of my hearing. So if my threshold of hearing is there for pain, and if the sound pressure comes up to that level or even exceeds that level by a few dB or so, you're going to end up with tinnitus. Birds winging in your ears, the sound of a kettle, a kind of continuously on and off. Don't want to look at had kind of fond memories, you know. Yeah, it was a movie, it was a cinema, blah blah blah. But I don't care for cinema anymore. Cinemas today, they're all bland, load of rubbish. They don't have any architectural design characteristics to cinemas today. Multiplexes, Dolby theatres, they're a load of rubbish. So, earthquake. So I thought I'd put it through the DTS CAD. That's on non-sync 424 there. I'll go over to DTS. Won't be anything on Dolby Digital because there's no Dolby encoding digital on the disc, apart from the backup analog track which is there. Turn the fader down a little bit. That's more like it. For a moment I was thinking, well, I'm not getting any sound. Checking all the inputs that I got set to the 5.1 on the RCA inputs. Why am I not getting any sound? I thought, I'm seeing sound indication here, and I think, oh yeah, it's every now and then, you know, digital cinema processors, yeah. They don't output any sound, and all you think, oh, it's a flaw. It's one of those little flaws. All you do is just switch it off, wait a few seconds, and then switch it back on, and then I'll get sound input up here because I was getting input here, and I'm thinking, and I think, oh yeah, because it always throws me off. Always throws me off. It does. Always throws me off sometimes. CP 500 sometimes does it. It's digital. It's got partly digital on it, and sometimes no sound comes out on the one of the output channels, and it's just a simple thing of just reset. It's got a reset button, or you just power it off and then wait a few seconds and then power it back on, and then it's okay. It's just one of those digital things, that's all it is. Sometimes it even happens with some, you know, even high-end. Well, these are high-end. These are the high-end. That's not high-end. Storm audio, that's not high-end. If anyone thinks or believes that, you've been marketed, deluded by bullshit. And if you think the Trinov is the highest end, then you've ultrally been bullshitted. Seriously, I'm not having a go at them. I'm just thinking, I just don't like the bullshit, and I just don't like the fact that these processors cannot do all the sound formats. That, you know, okay, you don't want it to do Vitaphone now. Don't want Vitaphone. Well, you want mono, and to assign that processor to do mono, I need to create a theatre mode. I need to create a specific mode. Okay, most of all the normal regular sound format modes come mandatorily with cinema processors. STDS has got a mono on it. I think it's down here. Yeah. No, that's non-sync. That's microphone. Yeah, that's mono there. So that flashing like that, boom, that's mono. But I've assigned it to a different. I've assigned it for a different channel now, I think. No, totally mono. And this one for 424. Oh yeah, 424 non-sync, Dolby stereo. When I connect it all back up and rig it all back up, you know. This one here, what's that one? I think that's narrow. So it'd be like, if I configure it back up, it's complicated, a bit more complicated. I've got a Storm audio, make it a bit so I could play the center channel there and put the left and right that would regularly go over here. I could put them on the left center, right center channel. So that would be used, say, that format there would be used for, say, like if projecting, be used for widescreen movie, which is a bit more inner. And this is a scope movie, mind you. And of course, if it was Academy ratio with, you know, that sort of thing, with that sort of sound, doubtful. Well, maybe Wizard of Oz. So maybe play Wizard of Oz, which is a what's it ratio size, and you know, have that sort of, like, you know, that's a bit of a mixed bag anyway. Wizard of Oz, that's a bit of a mixed bag, colour and sound. Mono original, and then 5.1 remix. It's a bit of a mixed bag, that. Yeah, and that mode there, that's regular LCR. And that mode there, I think, that's auxiliary 1 there, and that's auxiliary 2 for, you know, be it the parts, Dolby Stereo CP200, I think it's connected on there. Can't remember. And I haven't fired up my CP200 in a while. I've got to connect the internal inputs. I've got to connect them up. All the outputs are all connected, but I'm going to redo those. Just tidy up the cables a little bit. Yeah, look, again, seen an earthquake. There's no bloody glass in that window. Door frame. I mean, it's all set. It's a movie set, isn't it? You know, the actual rumble of the this movie, the actual kind of acoustical rumble. Very few people could probably vaguely remember it. I mean, I saw this movie how many times? 70 millimeter, 6-track sensurround. How many times did I see it? 4 or 5 times, I think. 4 or 5 times over the months that it played. It wasn't like Mary Sue's Star Wars crap, Disney garbage trash, if you know what I mean. This is a movie, okay. It's a bit campy or a bit cheesy, but the Disney Star Wars, that is the ultimate cheese of the universe. And I don't suggest we sniff it, because it really smells bad. This movie just played for months and half a year, if not, in the same cinema. So I just went back every now and then and saw it, because there wasn't anything decent on TV. Not that TV could do it, you know. TV couldn't do, you know, can only do mono, limited frequency bandwidth and output power. But wow, this was like, wow, this was an event. Just purely sound effects. You go out in the real world on a daily basis, we only hear sound effects. Music, I'm afraid, I'm sorry to say this, but it's the facts. Music is about like there. It's few and far between. Sound effects are like that everywhere. How do you think you go elsewhere in the world? Are you going to hear any music there? Well, you might go down into the Amazon and with the natives, and they might be chanting music and all that, and might have some things tapping like a musical sound. That's going to be very few far between. Mostly it's going to be the sound effects, the nature itself, which cannot be fooled. Otherwise, the house comes tumbling down and you almost end up wearing it. Whoa! Movie is brilliant. It beats San Andreas Dolby Atmos. San Andreas ain't got a LFE to stand on. This is just purely sound effects. Everyone, it's just mayhem, chaos. You know, look at the expression on her. She was in one of those airplane movies, I think. Monica something, Morris or Monica or something. Give me your pantyhose. Give me your pantyhose in sensurround. That expression of reaction to nothing that's happening, it looks so realistic. Because it's just like, you know, they're all up in the top blooming floor of a skyscraper, and everything is just totally unleashed. You know, it's not like a little quake. This thing is mega, and that building's not going to stand. Yeah, there goes Taco Bell. Yeah, now if now Universal, they use their own. They're using DDS mostly, DDSX or whatever. But all these sound formats, they're a load of rubbish. They got no below surround channel. I've said it before. I've said it time and time again over bloody 10 years. I must be talking to myself, you know, because if there was a petition to get, say, Dolby Labs, trade off some of those 64 channels and use the rest of the bulk of that for below surround. I'm not talking just a few speakers on the floor for floor surround mixing. I'm talking quite a bit, because it is so complex. And if they're trying to make out it's the best sound format ever, it's a load of bullshit. I would say 90% plus strong of all you lot out there have been seriously bullshitted. Oh, most of you lot out there, you haven't got a bloody clue what sound of how it. I've got a damn good sound memory on how things move and how things sound and feel in the real world, and then compare it to a movie, and it's like, I'm thinking there's something missing here. A movie still wouldn't be able to do everything what is like real life, because that is just totally impossible. All you can get still out of this at the end of the day is an approximation in the mixing. That's as far as it can go. It can't go any further than that. You could put bass shakers in it until you're blue in the face. You could put an AVS hover boss and adapt that for cinema. It's only going to bounce the seat up and down. There's not that much going on here. It's more of a swaying effect going like this. It's a similar effect when you look at ocean waves, and you've got a boat there, and then the ocean waves going, and then you going all that. You're making your house of cards, yeah, and the waves start, and then boof, it collapses. Because the waves are going that way, this way, that way. They're all going every direction. That's what the earthquake's doing. That's why everyone's going like this. The whole flipping ground's become active, and oh, with that magnitude, oh dear. And you don't want that sort of level in the home, crikey, not unless you want the ceiling eventually. And then want the ceiling eventually to come crashing down on top of you. You see, now that's overhead sound. But that's not just overhead. That's not just overhead. That's also below surround. Because what do you think? A lot of the other sounds, not that you're going to be paying attention to it one bit. I think I'll be more interested in getting out of that building rather than waiting to wearing it. And probably be a bit safer outside, you know, than indoors and waiting for something to collapse on top of you. But debris would be coming down, little pieces, small pieces of plastic, anything that falls, and it's going to land onto a surface, even if it's carpet, it's going to make a sound. Depending on how the density, the weight of it, and if it was a piece of fluff or hair or spider web floating down, that's almost going to be inaudible. Isn't that right, Bear? See, even Bear knows.